What does the discussion of immigration have to do with racism?
If there were not one single immigrant or refugee in the United States today, there would still be an anti-immigrant movement.
Is the immigration debate really about immigration? To answer these questions, we must begin to unravel some of the myths and rhetoric that racism uses to disguise itself. Let us begin with the myth of the Alamo.
7,000 storming enemy troops swore there would be no Texas. But 186 Texans didn't hear. And as long as history shall honor courage, men will remember the Alamo.
Who were the defenders of the Alamo, and what were they fighting for? In the early 1800s, Anglos settling in the region of Mexico now known as Texas ran into a problem. Slavery had been outlawed in Mexico. The solution to the problem for the new settlers was clear: fight back the Mexicans and declare Texas a republic of the United States, where slavery was protected by law. Far from defending liberty, the defenders of the Alamo fought and died to preserve the practices of slavery and white supremacy.
Remember the Alamo.
When slavery was legally abolished in 1865, white Southern landowners began to organize to keep African Americans from achieving any form of social advancement. Some of these groups relied upon extreme measures of violence, such as the white supremacist terrorist group known as the Ku Klux Klan. Other groups used more subversive tactics to achieve their aims. The White Citizens Council was founded in 1954 to defend and maintain racial segregation. Its members held leadership roles in civic and political organizations and used their influence to disempower African Americans. After the Civil Rights Movement, white supremacy had to lick its wounds and reorganize its tactics. In 1985, the very same leaders of the White Citizens Council founded a new organization under a new name: the Council of Conservative Citizens.
Nearly a half-century ago, Baum joined the White Citizens Council, a national group committed to segregation and white-only schools. His current group, the CFCC, also condemns racial integration and immigration by non-Europeans. Do you believe blacks are inferior to whites?
I won't use the word inferior. It's different.
The Council of Conservative Citizens is reflective of a large white nationalist movement that has found ways of provoking national discussions about race without the word race ever being mentioned. The affirmative action debate, attempts to draw correlations between race and intelligence. The immigration debate. These are the present-day frontiers of racism.
Because this debate isn't really about immigration. The debate is really about who's an American and what will America look like.
The anti-immigrant movement, influenced by white supremacist networks, is using the immigration debate as a vehicle to overturn advances made during the civil rights movement. The results of their actions have been policies and public rhetoric affecting all people of color. It is in their interest to keep African Americans on the sidelines and silent, for they know that blacks are one of the most organized communities in the United States, and that black multiracial organizing has defeated white supremacy in the past. Propelled by myths and misinformation, both African Americans and Latinos have been led to see one another as the enemy. One of the greatest myths is the notion that immigrants are stealing jobs from African Americans. Stephen Pitts, a specialist at the University of California at Berkeley's Center for Labor Research and Education, has found that the true cause of lack of employment among African Americans has to do with three factors: job discrimination, substandard education, and attacks on unionization. Underemployment is the direct result of historic white supremacy and modern-day structural racism, not a product of immigration. African Americans, joined by others, have fought long and hard to ensure that the United States is a real and vibrant multiracial democracy. Throughout the country, anti-immigrant legislation is being passed to allegedly curb immigrants from voting. The result of this legislation has been the suppression of the black vote. The Voter ID Amendment requires voters to present a government-issued photo ID before voting. Studies have shown that roughly 2 million African Americans don't have a Social Security card, driver's license, passport, birth certificate, or proof of naturalization. Asking African Americans to provide proof of citizenship when such documents have never been issued to them is to undermine the Voting Rights Act passed just 40 years ago. There are histories told and histories untold. The histories that do not get told are the important alliances and solidarity of values between African Americans and Latinos. When the Mexican-American farm labor leader Cesar Chavez organized his first fast in 1968, Dr. King sent him a telegram. It read, "Our separate struggles are really one, a struggle for freedom, for dignity, and for humanity." We must ask ourselves what will happen if the anti-immigrant movement continues to grow. Those working towards civil, human, and labor rights all share a dream to live, love, and work free from fear. As we learn to work together, this dream becomes real.